everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lynn, and I'm a very recent graduate from the University of Guelph. I was an international student, and my degree is in Management, Economics, and Finance. And in today's video, I'm going to try and tell you some things that you forgot to bring to your residence room so that you can pick those up when you're home for Thanksgiving break. There's a lot of first-year students on campus this year and a lot of people living in residence, and I lived for 3 years in residence as a student and as a cluster leader, so I think I do have a little bit of authority on what can help you make your room feel like it's your home. Not only in the decor, but also in the things that you have to take outside of your room. For example, if your hobby is ice skating, but you didn't bring your ice skates, maybe you should pick those up when you're at home. There's lots of other things like that that you might be forgetting just because you were so wrapped up in getting to university, but now you have some time, you've been at university for a month or so, and you've really thought through what you're missing. I know that I definitely did that. It was a little bit harder for me to go home and just grab something. I lived in a different country, so for those of you that live in Guelph, this video might not make a lot of sense. Your drive home is like 2 or 3 minutes, but for those of you that live farther away, whether that's in a different part of Ontario, in a different province in Canada, or in an entirely different country like myself, this video should be helpful to make a little packing list for yourself for whenever you're going home next. So the number one thing that I think is the most important at making your room feel like it's your home is your decorations. It's very important to have a bed, but the university has already covered that for you. It's very important to have somewhere to store your clothes, but hopefully the university has already covered that for you. Something that I really appreciated in my residence room was lighting, extra seating, and decorations such as wall coverings or pillows or blankets of that sort. So for example, I always had fairy lights hung in my dorm room. If you're going to hang fairy lights, those don't have adhesive backing like some of the LED light strips have. So you're going to also need command hooks or some way to hang them that's not going to damage your university residence room. If you want to plug in an extra lamp next to your bed, make sure that you have outlet space for that. If you don't have the outlet space, then get an extension cord with multiple outlets on it so that you can plug in your phone, your laptop, your light, your mini fridge all into one outlet. And that's just an example of lighting. If you wanted to hang wall decor, I found 2 really easy things to stick wall decor up on the wall with were either hot glue, which sounds a little drastic, but I'll explain, or just regular masking tape. Not the clear tape, because that seemed to fall off the wall a lot easier, but the tape that's like that creamy off-white color that you would use in art or maybe even painter's tape situations. So when I say hot glue, let's go back to that. You cannot use hot glue on drywall. You will rip up the drywall, you will rip off the paint, it's not going to be good. University Housing Services is not going to be happy. But when I lived in South, all of the walls are cinder blocks that are painted with an oil-based paint. So it's not like the paint that you use on drywall, which is acrylic based. So oil-based paint sticks better to the wall. So what I did when I was hanging up things that were a little bit heavy, but not like the weight of a mirror, I don't know, just heavier posters, heavier paper, I would dab a little bit of hot glue in each corner and stick it up on the wall. Now, once you stick it there, you can't really move it around, so you have to be sure of the placement and hang it straight. At least that would bother me if it wasn't straight. But it stayed up all semester, and then when I was done, you pull it off the wall. I didn't see any damage to my posters, and there was no damage to the wall either because you can just peel off the hot glue. It's just plastic on an oil-based paint on those cinder blocks, so there was no damage. I repeat myself, do not hot glue onto drywall. If you are anywhere that has drywall walls, do not hot glue on them. Also, I would not recommend hot gluing onto wood. I did hang a wreath that was like a holiday decoration, and I hot glued it directly to my wooden door. And even though I did get all of the hot glue off the door, it took a lot longer than peeling it off the oil-based paint on the cinder blocks because the wood has a lot more porous surface so that it can get in there. Anyway, enough about hot glue. The next thing that I would suggest that you bring is some sort of decorative bedding. Your bed in your dorm room is one of the biggest things in the room. There's not a lot of room, I'm sure, especially now when you're shoved into smaller and smaller places. So the bed is a statement piece. If you don't like your duvet cover, or if you don't like your sheets or your pillows, it's time to change them. Even though that can be expensive, there's lots of ways that you can add decoration at a low price. For example, I got this king-sized sage green blanket from the Value Village. Throw it in the wash, put some fabric softener in there, it smells great. And it was only, what, $6? I think the price tag is still on it because I just got it the other day. So this blanket would cover my entire university bed, and it looks completely different than, say, just the plaid blue duvet cover that you have on it from when you were at home. Additionally, if you have no decorative pillows on your bed, it looks like you just sleep there. If you add even one decorative pillow, or one stuffed animal that looks sort of nice, not the one that you've been sleeping with since you were 5 years old, but a nice looking one that represents your current hobbies or obsessions with TV shows, things like that. It can really add a lot of personality to your room, and it also helps if you're trying to study in bed, you have some other pillow to prop yourself up on rather than just relying on your one sleeping pillow, which might be flat from sleeping on it a lot, or you just like a flat pillow to begin with. I digress. Having a decorative pillow really makes your bed look nice and like a statement piece in your room, not just somewhere to sleep. And then other little knick-knacky things that you might want in your room, I always had little dishes like this one that hold all of my random things that I can just drop my keys in as soon as I come home, or have my wireless mouse in so that I don't lose it, or extra pencils, or whatever I needed right by my bedside. I also usually hung command hooks by my door that were heavy enough weight rating to hold coats and even winter coats. So if there was a fire drill or an actual fire, my coat was right there. I could grab it on my way out. I didn't have to mess with it in the closet or in a drawer. It was easy access at all times. And if you have a nice looking coat, it can become a decoration as well. A lot of things in your dorm room have to be multi-purpose because it's a little bit ridiculous to assume that you'll have enough space to have everything just fulfill one need. For example, when I'm talking about auxiliary chair seating options, I had a big round fold out camping chair that was in the corner of my room. It was not only a chair, but when I had friends over, they would sometimes sleep in the chair. It was big enough for that. I used it as a studying chair because I didn't like the desk chair that came with the desk. It was a blanket rack. I had lots of blankets on it, so if anyone was in my room and got cold, they could grab a blanket. And sorry, my dog is here. She's just getting comfortable in her chair. It's time for a cuddle break. Say hello. Say hello. Now that we've talked about decorations, let's talk about things that you need in your real life outside of your dorm room. So, for me, a lot of the things that I did were going to class, going to eat food, and going ice skating or doing one of my other various hobbies, such as hiking. I was in the junior farmers club, so that requires specific shoes and outfits as well. So by now you've figured out what outfits you wear all the time. It's time to go through your closet and get rid of the clothes, not necessarily donate or throw away, but take back home the clothes that you don't really wear very often, or those summer clothes since it's now getting a lot colder. And it's time to bring in those winter clothes plus those specialty clothes that you didn't know you would need. If you started going to the gym and you had never gone to the gym before university, you might want to look at some gym clothes or gym shoes or something of that sort. If you're going swimming all the time at the gym, you might need a swimsuit. Things that were going to help you in your hobbies, in your activities, in your daily life at Guelph that you might have forgotten at home and you've been doing without for a month now. For me, it was ice skates. I didn't go home to Ohio to get ice skates. I went to the Value Village and I picked up a pair of skates, got them sharpened at the Sport Check, and then I skated on them every day. So it was very important to me to have a good pair of skates that was really sharp. So I paid a little bit more money for my skates, but even then it was like $30, and I got daily use out of them for an hour a day. Plus, it was an activity that I did every day. It kept me in shape. It gave me some structure, especially when my classes were online and I didn't have to be in a specific room at a specific time. So that's something, skating was something really important to me. So I made sure that in my room I had my skates at all times. I think that ice skates are one of the best pieces of equipment that you could bring to Guelph because the skating rink is there. Plus, in the winter, there's lots of local skating rinks that are just outside. So it's something you can do with your friends, even if you're really not good at skating. Someone in your friend group probably is. You live in Canada now. So it can be a fun thing to do to go skating with your friends. Even if it's only one day, it's still sort of worth it to me to go and pick up an old pair of skates and get them sharpened, or bring your skates from home if you haven't yet. Just a word of warning, as I'm telling you to bring all these things into residence, make sure that you're still following the residence code of conduct and you're not bringing in anything that's not allowed in your residence room. For example, if you're really annoyed that you have to share a microwave with 30 other people in your residence, that's too bad. You can't have a microwave in your room. I just had to say that piece, and that is one example, the microwave, so that you don't get in trouble, so that I don't get in trouble from my colleagues that still work there, and so that everyone is still happy at the University of Guelph, because you don't want to be kicked out for something as stupid as a microwave. So make sure that you're always following that code of conduct and looking into what you can and cannot bring to your room. That especially goes for drinking games, even though it's really fun. Sometimes if you drink, you don't want to be bringing in something that can be confiscated, that could cause a problem. There's rules for a reason, so even if it seems a little ridiculous that you can't have a pong table, sorry, that's the rules. The last thing that I want to urge you to bring to your residence room is your fall and winter clothing. Like I mentioned before, it's getting a lot colder. You're into October now. Hopefully, you've been able to get out and enjoy the weather. And if you have, you probably know shorts and a tank top is not going to cut it for the Canadian winter. So, if you're new to the country, I would recommend going to the Value Village and searching for a winter coat. There's usually reasonably priced ones, and since they're all from Canada, they're built for the Canadian weather. If you come from a hot place and you've brought your winter coat from there, it's not going to be the same, most likely, as it will be in Canada. If you're looking for something very specific in a coat, like you've seen this style, you know that you want this style, there's the Stone Road Mall. There's lots of other clothing areas that you can go to find those higher end pieces, but just know that you will be paying more money for them. And I was always on the side of thrifting things. Like basically everything on my wall here is thrifted and that I wear. So I believe that you can get some cute clothes from a thrift store. You don't have to settle for something that's ugly. And I think that it's a really good way to budget. So if you don't have any warm clothes to bring to Canada with you, definitely go and check out the thrift store. Hopefully they still have the try-on rooms available. With COVID, I know that's been impacted. Usually if there's no try-on room, there's at least a return store credit policy. So at the Value Village, I could take everything that was clothing home, try it on for 2 weeks, and then within 2 weeks, if I didn't like it, I could return it for store credit. So that was not cash in my hands. It was the ability to buy something else at the same store for the same amount of money or more money. And then I could try something new on for 2 weeks, and the cycle could continue. So I cannot stress that enough. Go to the thrift store if you don't think you have any cute clothes for fall, because it's way better than freezing. Definitely things that I suggest for fall would be a hat, scarf, and mittens or gloves. Your hands get really cold. It's really windy on Guelph campus if you haven't noticed yet. So having those things to cover up your hands and your head are very important, and those are the biggest ways that you lose heat in the winter anyways, through your head, your neck, and your hands. So go ahead and get those warm things so that you can protect yourself for the winter as well. Hopefully this video has been helpful. I hope you're enjoying your first month at Guelph, and for those who don't attend Guelph yet and are just watching my videos, hopefully this can give you some insight into what to pack before you come to campus, so you don't have to wait until Thanksgiving to bring everything you want to your dorm room. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to watch some more videos of mine, you can find those right here. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos, you can do that right over there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!